Welcome back to Horror Recaps. Today, I will be showing you a Japanese horror film from 2009 titled Teke Teke. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie starts in the city of Nagoya, Japan. In the opening scene, a woman is returning home on a bus after working late. We notice that she has a bright red keychain hung from her handbag. Although it seems harmless at first sight, the keychain is going to be the cause of the woman's downfall. The bus also has a group of teenage girls playing around in the back seat. They talk about a Japanese urban legend called the Teke Teke, the vengeful ghost of a schoolgirl whose lower half of the body is missing. It is believed that Teke Teke fell to a railway track from an overpass and died after being sliced in half by a running train. Hence, her ghost walks on her hands and elbows, dragging her torso and making a scuttling noise that sounds like Teke Teke. If Teke Teke encounters an individual in an overpass, she will chase them and slice them in half at the torso, killing them in such a way that mimics her own disfigurement. For the past few months, many half-torsos have been found on an overpass which the girls believe is Teke Teke's doing. The woman overhears their conversation and gets nervous because she will have to cross an overpass to go home. She scolds the girls for talking about such absurd theories, but the girls laugh at her. Sometime later, she is walking through the overpass and she hears a rustling sound behind her. But upon checking, she finds no one. When she turns back around, we see the upper torso of Teke Teke behind her. The woman starts to run, knowing that someone is following her. Teke Teke follows behind, making her signature scuttling noise. Eventually, the woman comes face to face with the spirit and is cut into half in a mere second. Kana and Ayaka are high schoolers who have been best friends since childhood. One day, Ayaka reveals that she has a crush on the school's football player named Utsumi. She asks Kana to tell Utsumi about her feelings because she is too shy to do it herself. Kana doesn't want to do it but agrees after being offered lunch. She goes to Utsumi and asks him out from Ayaka's side. It is evident that Utsumi likes Kana more than Ayaka, but he agrees to go on a date with Ayaka nonetheless. The next morning, the best friends are talking when Kana asks Ayaka about her date. She replies that Utsumi was talking about Kana the entire time. Ayaka asks her to join her on her next date with Utsumi. Kana isn't sure about the idea because she doesn't want to get involved between the two, but on being requested repeatedly, she agrees to go on only one date with them. After school, they go to a cafe and meet Utsumi. He shows them his brand new phone where the news about a half-torso being found on an overpass is being reported. Utsumi happens to know about the spirit of Teke Teke and tells the girls about her story. He advises them to never walk alone on the overpass at night and also tells them to not look behind if they hear someone approaching them. It is said that if they ignore Teke Teke's existence, she will leave you alone. Kana thinks it is a myth, but Ayaka adds that even if someone manages to run away from the spirit, the reports say that the person will be dead within 3 days. For a while, Ayaka goes to the bathroom and Kana takes the opportunity to ask Utsumi what he thinks about Ayaka. To her surprise, he answers that he isn't interested in her at all. He only agreed to go on a date because Kana asked him to do so. It turns out that Ayaka is listening to their conversation from behind the door. She is heartbroken and filled with jealousy after finding out her crush likes her best friend. When it starts to get dark, they leave for their respective houses. Utsumi leaves first and the best friends walk home together. On their way, Ayaka asks Kana if she likes Utsumi. Kana denies having any kind of feeling for him, but it doesn't satisfy Ayaka. She picks a fight and storms off in a fit of rage. To take another way home, she has to cross the overpass. She walks through it, apologetic for lashing out at Kana when it wasn't even her fault. She is thinking of apologizing to her the next day when suddenly, a noise startles her. She slowly turns around to see Teke Teke in front of her. A shiver goes down her spine at the sight as she remembers that she wasn't supposed to look at the ghost. She runs for her life, but the ghost is just as fast. A few seconds later, her body is sliced in half, which kills her instantly. Teke Teke jumps off the overpass after killing her. The next morning, Kana finds out about her best friend's death and falls to the ground crying. A teacher helps her up and calms her before she is brought to the police station for interrogation. Kana doesn't tell them about the fight they had last night. She only informs them that they met in the cafe and went home after that. Upon reaching home, Kana watches the news about the woman who was killed at the beginning of the film. The police have declared that her husband is the culprit, but he insists she was killed by a ghost with only the upper half of her body. This makes Kana realize that Ayaka's death might also be caused by the spirit. To freshen her mind, she goes out for a walk, but the kids around the neighborhood are also talking about Teke Teke. Then, she meets Utsumi and tells him about the fight that she and Ayaka had last night. On their way back home, They talk about the woman whose husband was suspected of her murder but claims that he saw Teke Teke. Utsumi tells Kana that Teke Teke is just a myth and the man must be trying to divert the attention to avoid being convicted. A few hours later, when it gets dark, Kana goes to the overpass with flowers to pay respect to her friend. Somewhere else, Utsumi feels like something bad is about to happen, so he returns looking for Kana. Just then, Kana hears a noise from behind her. She realizes it is Teke Teke and remembers Utsumi telling them to not look behind. She shuts her eyes and sits down, trembling in fear. Teke Teke comes closer and stares at her, but Kana keeps her eyes closed. Seconds later, the spirit goes away. When Kana finally opens her eyes, she hears Ayaka calling her from behind. Unaware that it is a ruse set by Teke Teke, she turns around and locks eyes with the ghost. A chase ensues as Kana runs to save her life. She is about to be caught when she sees Utsumi on a bicycle looking for her. She gets on his bike and asks him to quickly cycle away. However, they fall off it and brace themselves for the attack. To Kana's surprise, the ghost disappears into the night. She figures that it is because she only attacks the people who are alone. The following day, Kana goes to visit Utsumi in the hospital because his leg has been fractured. He doesn't believe the Teke Teke story because he didn't see the ghost yesterday. To find out more about her, Kana goes to the library and reads a book about the legend. She is approached by her cousin Ri, who claims that she has also been researching Teke Teke recently. She is about to go to a different city to meet a professor who knows more about the matter. Kana tells her about the events that happened last night. Since she saw the ghost, she has 2 days before Teke Teke attacks her again. They leave for the city and arrive the next day. Following that, they meet the professor, who informs them that after World War II, a girl had jumped off the overpass to take her life. Her upper torso was found the next day on the railway tracks. After that event, Teke Teke started appearing, so the locals believe that she is the vengeful ghost of the girl who took her life. He also gives them the address of the people who might have known Teke Teke before her death. The professor's assistant, Takeda, is asked to escort the girls to the said location and help them with the research. Before they leave, the professor adds that Teke Teke despises the color red and only attacks the people who are wearing the color or are associated with it. This explains the death of the girl at the beginning of the film and Ayaka's death because she had a red backpack. Following that, Takeda takes the girls to Teke Teke's relatives. An old woman reveals that Teke Teke's real name was Kashima Reiko and she was a nurse during the war. She was sexually assaulted by an American soldier, which traumatized her for life. She associated the color red with the bleeding she experienced during the incident and started to despise it. With time, she discarded all red objects in her sight but couldn't live life normally even then. Eventually, she jumped off the overpass and was split in half by a train. The girls find out everything about Teke Teke's life, but they still do not know how to stop her from killing them. They are about to leave when Takeda informs them of a rumor about a memorial built for Kashima in a place called Mikasacho. According to some people, the killings had stopped after the memorial was built, but it restarted since it has fallen over. The girls drive to Mikasacho by nightfall, hoping to find the memorial and make it upright. On their way, Ri reveals that she went to the overpass a few hours after Kana last night. She also saw the ghost but was able to run away before being killed. This means both their lives are in danger and they only have 2 hours before the ghost attacks. They reach the destination but see that the place has no memorial. Ri calls Takeda, who looks at a map and tells them that the place is further 7 kilometers away from their location. They immediately drive to the said place and reach it just in time. They discover the fallen memorial in a forested area, but before they can lift it back, they feel Teke Teke's presence. She runs towards them when the girls hurriedly place the memorial back up. After that, the ghost disappears and the girls run back to their car. Suddenly, they notice Teke Teke behind them on the road. She followed them because their car is red. They abandon the vehicle and run away while removing red clothes and accessories from themselves. To Ri's misfortune, she accidentally cuts her head on a branch, causing it to bleed. The color triggers Teke Teke and she jumps at Ri, slicing her in two. Seconds later, she launches at Kana but disappears before attacking her. The scene cuts to a few months later. A group of kids are seen walking by Kana's house talking about a mentally ill girl who hates the color red. They also claim that the ghost of Teke Teke is frequently seen in this neighborhood. 1 year later, Takeda visits Kana and her mother, who are now living in a new residence. It turns out that Kana has been in an almost catatonic state since Ri's death. She never comes out of the room and hates the color red. Takeda finds her sitting by her window with a grim expression on her face. In the last scene, he offers her a red box of sweets which causes her to go into a frenzy. By the ending, It can be concluded that Teke Teke still hasn't given up on trying to kill Kana. Hence, she rounds the neighborhood every day waiting for Kana to come in contact with a red object. Kana seems to know this, which explains why she hates the color red so much. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.